Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Raymond Wyatt Jr. here. So excited to be back. I'm really excited for today's conversation. We are super excited because we have a couple of people on here, and we're going to talk about friendships. We're really excited because Miss Minity has some people on here. We're going to talk about friendships that she's had with these people, and I'm really excited to talk about this conversation. So, without further ado, the person to talk about all of these people that she has friendships with, we have Miss Minity coming on. What's going on, Miss Minity? How are you?
Everybody, what's happening? Thank you for joining us on this final edition of Motivational Mondays. This is going to be our last edition. I've enjoyed being with you guys for a few weeks now, several weeks, and I hope I have enlightened you on some of the things that the community people are doing, and some of the things that I want you to do on November 3rd, because this is an exciting election. I am very passionate about this election, and we've got to have everybody motivated to do what they need to do. So before I forget, Raymond, I just want to thank you for helping me through these weeks, for being my side man, my hype man, I guess they call him, and getting us started with these conversations. I could not have done it without you, but I'm just praying that everybody will tell somebody, get somebody, tell somebody, text somebody, call somebody, do whatever you got to do to get people out on November 3rd. And let's just make this a tremendous election. But today I have some special friends here today that are going to just talk about I've been knowing them for many, many years. And listen, I could not have made it without them in my life. You know that I had a life-changing ordeal, medical challenge on April 9th, 2015, where I had a massive stroke, and life just didn't look good for me at all. And had it not been for the commitment and love and just support of my friends, I don't think I could have made it. So listen, I've got a few friends here today. I've got one that came, she wanted to be here today, but she sent a video, so we'll talk to her later. But let me just bring my friends in right now. I've got Sharon Fudge, I've got Bria Williams, and I've got Nicole Davis. How you ladies doing today?
Fine. Good. How are you?
Good. It's so good.
Hi.
So great to see you now. Nicole Davis is our resident theologian. She is a student at Drew University, my alma mater, and she works for the Center for Food Action now. So she's making sure that the people in Bergen County get enough food who cannot really afford to get food. So I'm so excited about her. She's also an entrepreneur, and she does events. She's a phenomenal event planner, and I'm so glad to have her as a friend in my life. Now, Sharon Fudge, I hope I get this title right, a mental health counselor. Is that correct, Sharon?
You can say that. It's okay. It covers everything.
She's a mental health counselor, and she gets to talk to people who need some assistance and support, who have some mental health challenges. So she's a tough cookie too. Not only does she help those that need support, that she gets paid to help, but she helps me because I go through some mental health challenges. So I am so glad. And Sharon was and is my rock in regard to my illness. Had it not been for her coming to that hospital every single day to see about me and take care of me, I probably wouldn't be here today. And then Bria Williams, you don't see her face, but as she's on here, you can hear my voice.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. She's the stylist in the group.
Wonderful.
Let me tell you something. If you want to look good, or if you got a piece of furniture that needs to look good, you got a room that needs to look good, whatever you need for it to look good, Bria Williams is the girl that you need to call. She has an eye that only God can give. I am so excited to call her my stylist. And ladies again, how are you? How are you doing? And I'm so glad to have you here with me.
Very good, thank you.
Everybody's
Hi.
okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, listen, I just want to talk to you a minute about friendship. So think about this question. Think about this. If you had to answer this question, what would you say? What are some qualities of a good friend? What are some qualities of a good friend? And just try not to talk over each other, but when God gives you something to share, what is a good friend to you? Go ahead.
Well, for me, it's Sharon. Hi, everybody, again. The quality for me of a good friend is having the ability and having the heart of giving, of loving, and of understanding and patience. Because I
Mm,
think it takes all those things and some more to be connected to another person in the name of friendship. I think a lot of people have different definitions of friendship. It doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. Whatever your definition of friendship is what you communicate and what you give to that person that you're calling a friend. So, and communication is important as well. We know we all have our issues, but we try as best we can, in my opinion, to love unconditionally, which is sometimes difficult
mm.
because we have to agree to disagree a lot of times, but in love and understanding. So that would be my take on that.
All right, Nick, you want to fall in? You got an answer?
Sure, sure. So I like Sharon's answers. I'll add to that you want a friend that is going to be an encourager,
Mm,
and you also want friends that will stand in truth. Now, we have this whole thing today with people saying, I'm living my truth. But the challenge with you living your truth is sometimes your truth is not true, is wrong. So when you
It's true.
talk about having friends standing in truth, um, they have to stand in truth. So quick story, how I met Bria. Bria met my father at Strength at Noon. And my father asked her, do you know my Nikki? She said, I think so. I walk in and Bria says to me, are you Nicole? And I say, are you Bria? And she says, yes. And then she says to me, you know, there's better hair for you. I was wearing
wow.
a ponytail. And I knew the ponytail was a little sketchy. And Bria said to me, there's better hair for you. And I looked at her and I said, girl, I know. I said, so what do we do? And we worked out a plan and we met a week later and she went and got me the better hair, came back to my house and we got it all up on my head. And we've been friends ever since. And so people are like, you didn't, give her shade and ask her who she was. And I was like, well, first of all, she's crispy in her look. So I can't confirm on her if she's telling me that I could do better. And that's that truth that Brie and I have been able to stand in that truth for, I swear it must be 25 years.
Yeah.
That's that truth that you can't take offense. And as Sharon says, even if you agree to disagree, even if you take offense, you're still in friendship. So I didn't take offense. And so that's that truthful space. And I also think that true friends have to be credible in their commitment to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, and I know that hair was laid because that Bria wouldn't have it any other way.
That's so funny. So my state, first of all, let me just say how ironic as the visual person here that I am not visual. The irony persists here. However, Nick, it was perfect. It was a perfect window for me because I was just gonna keep it real simple. For me, friendship is honesty. And, that's the one thing that I think, well, for me anyway, just honesty. I mean, hurt my feelings, but you know what? If you're honest about it, then at the end of the day, you know what? I'm going to come back to it and really look at it and say, okay, I mean, there are myriad of other things that, are great characteristics of friendship. But for me, at the door, it is honesty. So you want friends that are honest with you, that'll tell you the truth, that'll be there for you, even again when it sometimes it doesn't feel right, but
Wow.
that honesty cuts through so much bullcrap in terms of friendship, long friendship.
What,
That's true, Bria. Thanks for saying that because, sometimes it's hard for us or difficult for us to hear the truth and hear the honest piece of what we
Mhm,
don't want to hear. But you know what?
mhm,
Oh well, we'll be over
mhm.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At
Yeah,
some
yeah,
point
yeah.
we'll be over it and we'll still
Mhm,
love, communicate, talk,
mhm.
give, take, whatever it is that it takes to make the relationship or the friendship. So I
Right,
agree.
right.
Thank you for bringing that piece up. That's important,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
wow.
I also think in honesty that you are better for it in the end, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Pastor
Yes.
Royal, not great going down. Honesty, especially when you're standing in, spaces that, you know, are sketchy. I'll use sketchy as the word, and your friends
Mhm.
are honest with you. Um, they'll take you back once you say, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Or I don't see it that way.
Yeah. No, it absolutely doesn't mean that being honest means that that my truth, here we go with truth, is
Yeah.
your truth. But I think it's when you speak about, and we've had this conversation about leadership. We just kind of go to church quickly here in terms of, you have your leadership in church, you have your pastor in church, and those people that they put around them. And if they put people around them that's just going to tell them what they want to hear,
Right.
Yes.
then there's no growth. The people will perish because there are folks around them that are saying to them things that make them feel good. And I know we're not supposed to be political, so I won't, but we'll just talk about leadership in general and just how you have a lot of folks around you guys that aren't honest, but just tell you what makes you feel good. Where is the growth? How do you develop from that? How do you see your potential when people are just stroking your ego? It's like, and that's nice to also do, but honesty is the best policy. Okay, that's my 2 cents.
And that's a great segue because all of us, myself, Nicole, Sharon, Bria, and even Liz, who will come on in a few minutes by video, are members of the Community Baptist Church in Inglewood.
Right.
And we all have the same pastor, Pastor Lester W. Taylor. So shout out to community folks who may
CBC.
be watching this. CBC, we love you and
CBC.
thank God for you. And
Mhm,
friendships,
Yay.
a lot of our friendships were made in church,
mhm, mhm.
Truth
Hmm.
be told, that's how we learned. And some of you guys are in jubilation. Nicole, we're not gonna say anything about you. You have been our what manager, right?
Mhm.
But
Right.
we got
Nicole is an
time to,
honorary member.
Honorary member. You know how folks say God bless her when somebody's singing. And you like, "Ooh,
Honorary member.
God bless her soul. Bless her,
Listen,
Father."
I told Bria this morning, I said, God probably didn't give me the gift of song because I would have just been an idiot.
He gave you the
Just
gift of
gave me,
management.
yeah, he gave me
Yes.
some other skills that I do.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
I'll just be in my house singing.
listen. You have a music background. You play violin and you
Mhm,
study under the performing arts. So you've been around enough music, for something to
mhm.
have rubbed off. So
It's
we're,
in my heart, but I bow in humble submission to y'all.
well, Raymond, I think that my girlfriend Liz Scruggs wanted to be here today. She could not be here because her work would not allow her to be here, but she sent me an awesome video. And Raymond, I want you to please, if you can you play that video from Liz Scruggs now for everybody to see? I have known Liz for over 40 years. So we've been friends a very, very long time. And she just couldn't let this day pass without us having to hear from her. So Raymond, would you please cue that up for us?
We've been friends for over 40 years, which we talked about the other night. That's a long time, and what a ride. We've had some great and wonderful, funny times together, and we still have many more to go, Steph, because I consider us friends for life. I mean that from my heart. You've watched my children grow up as we all grew up together, and it's been a pleasure just being around you and knowing you. So what a friend means to me is really someone who has your back, someone you can trust, who will love you no matter what. They'll always be there, always caring, always encouraging, always lifting up. They won't try and stress you, but they'll try to bless you. And friends stand the true test of time because they're always there. And when things go bad, sometimes we look at ourselves as, okay, what did I do wrong? But a friend is always there, a shoulder to lean on, and you can discuss things with them that you won't hear again. It's just a beautiful thing. Hard to explain. You just have to be one to know one. So the last thing I have to say is, when you have a friend, you understand. Have a blessed day.
When you have a friend, that's an inside joke because look at Sharon, she remembers because
Yes, that's an ongoing joke.
each year we would read our birthday cards, and I received a card one year that was called "When You Have a Friend." And I kept on saying, when you have a friend, when you have a friend, and it just became a running joke. But Liz Scruggs is the epitome of truly a good friend. And
Right. Yes.
we've been, like she said, we've been friends down through the years. And I just love her because she's real. She's
Yes.
real. She's real. She's not going to play games with you. She's going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. So I really appreciate that. Anybody have any comments about what you just heard?
Well,
No,
unfortunately, I
Liz
couldn't
is
really
dinner.
hear a lot of it, but knowing Liz's heart the way that I do,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Whatever it was, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a friend.
Yes, yes. Man, so awesome to talk to you. Well, I'm gonna switch horses a little bit, and I just want to talk for a minute about the Breonna Taylor case. You know that has come up in the news now, and Derek, whatever is it, Chauvin? Is that his name? Y'all help me. Somebody help me. The guy who shot her is now out on bail, and this case has there are so many questions about this case. What are your thoughts about Breonna? Because each one of us could have been Breonna Taylor. Each one of us. Somebody busting in your house at 12 o'clock at night, just shooting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Breonna?
You know what? I can't even isolate it, you guys. It's just all tragic to me. And the best way for me to say it or to express my personal concerns is that at one time I wasn't troubled or feared by being pulled over by the cops. Not that it's a regular thing, I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's a moving violation here. I was going to say Nicole calls me Thelma and Louise.
Just don't drive over the cliff. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
At any rate, but my point is that I hadn't feared being pulled over by a cop before. Like, okay, pull you over and you do the normal stuff. You give them your license and all that. But as of late, I find that I get a little afraid when I encounter a cop or they ride by or whatever, and it's so in a very clumsy way. That's kind of my statement about Breonna Taylor, is just that it's a tragic occurrence, but it's something that's been going on for years, and so. I'm sorry I'm not giving you, I don't know what you're looking for from me, Steph, but it's just, I'm heartbroken just across the board about what happens to our Black and brown people at the hands of those who are to protect us. So
what will happen? How long will this continue? Should we feel like this is the norm, or do you think that this time something will happen to change what has taken place? What are your thoughts?
I think that we must continue to fight.
Mhm.
Um, we have to go all the way back to how this country was founded and the things that it's predicated on. And so it is on a very slippery slope, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we take a look at something called manifest destiny is something that was created by a Protestant minister who
Mm-hmm.
all people are equal, but the white people are the smartest and the best, and we're going to come up with the plan to rule the world. That's what it says essentially. And
Right.
so through the generations, we have this, and it evolves in a number of different ways. And so we sit here today, and as Black people of African descent in this country, there are a group of people who have great disdain for our mere existence.
Mm.
That is counter to God's plan that all people are equal and all people are God's people. That is counter to being created equal. It's counter to so many things. So, these guys break into the house and they are out of order. Yes, we are challenged. And I hear Bria on the, oh, I'm not really trying to get pulled over because who knows what that's going to be. And so this whole thing of taking our lives when we are not armed, and we are not cognizant or aware, besides being a sin before the Lord and busting hell wide open, we have to continue to fight. You fight in a number of ways. However you fight, whether it's protesting, whether it's keeping the conversation alive, whether it's how you vote, it has to stay alive because, like you said, Brianna could have been any of the four of us asleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Al Sharpton has a new book out. I cannot recall the name of it right now, but he talks about the difference between, people think that because that we're inferior. Some people really think that we're inferior, and he does a comparison. He says, "Well, you need to look at statistics. That should be your gauge, not whether we are an inferior people, but what do the statistics say about the death of unarmed Black people? What do the statistics say about unemployed Black people? What do the statistics say about the ills of the Black community? Look at the statistics and not really on, whether thinking, no, they're just inferior people, because that is not right. That is the need for affirmative action. We wouldn't have had affirmative action if people, if we had gone by this thing that they're inferior. No, we're not inferior. We have to be more than qualified. And I was so proud of your AKA sister Nicole Kamala Harris on the debate the other. I don't want to say it wrong, but that's how I know she's going to win. That's how I know she's going to win, because we couldn't say Barack Obama when he first came out. So I was just so impressed with her, because there was a Black woman on the screen actually discussing and debating the issues. That's what we have to look at. That's what we have to look at. I'm sorry, I'm going to get off of my soapbox, but Sharon, did you want to say something? Because you look like you had something on your mind.
Yes, I do. I can relate to what Bria was saying because I work in a county where I was pulled over in the driving while Black female syndrome, as they would say. And it's a reality. I mean, that's our reality. But yet we still live in a world of white privilege. We have, and we are more now than ever before. So with that mindset, that's their idealistic way of thinking, but our reality and our realistic way of thinking is not theirs at all.
Right.
At all.
That's
So we
true.
do have to be mindful. We do have to be careful.
Yeah.
We do have to be aware of what this whole process is and where it's going, because it's going to a place of God only knows what at this point.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So we just have to be conscious, be very aware of our surroundings at all times, more now than ever before.
Mhm. Yeah.
It must happen.
That's
It
right.
must happen.
That's right.
So
And I'm just so happy about the peaceful protests. A lot of people will want you to think that these protests are violent and folks are burning up stuff and looting up stuff. No, that is not the majority of the case. You might have isolated incidents where you see that happening, but people are peacefully protesting and the numbers continue to grow. So I just want to say to anybody out there who's protesting, bravo. Listen, I can't walk with you, but I'll fry some chicken for you. I'll make a sandwich. I'll do whatever needs to be done to get you to keep on moving and keep on walking, because that's the only way that we make change. The second way that we make change is by going to the voting booth. Please go to the voting booth. A lot of people say, oh, it's not going to make any difference. My vote don't count.
Yes, it does.
Your vote counts. Your vote counts. I'll say it again. Your vote counts. Make your way to the voting booth, mail, or drop box, or go to the polls. Do whatever you have to do, but make your voice heard. Nick, you look like you had something to say. Nicole?
I'm here. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. No. So I was just saying that voting is essential to our existence. When we look at the history of voting, and that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is still trying to be re-ratified. It's amazing how government likes to re-ratify because they don't like the outcome. But at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day, we must vote. We also must engage in public service. So we have to continue to groom a generation of people that are like-minded, that are fair, that want to hold public office, whether it's local mayoralships, assemblymen, those types, school boards. A lot of this is impacting us on the local. Bria and I live in Bergen County. We call it the Bergen County bubble. I work at the food pantry, and we get donors who say, well, where are the poor people? And I say, well, they're the people that cut your lawn. They're the people that bust the tables. They're the people that clean the hospitals. And it may even be the lady that cleans your house once a week. And you know what you pay them. And you know what you make. So it's helping to dispel these notions. And part of the dispelling of the notion is trying to get people who understand humanity in place. Now, I will say this about the vote in New Jersey. They are mailing ballots out. If you have not received your ballot, you must call your county Board of Elections office and discuss it with them. My husband and I normally get both ballots together. Mine came, his didn't. We called, they said, give it 10 days. 10 days passed, he called back, and the woman was like, yours was mailed on the 27th of September. And now it's the 9th. So there's nothing. So she said, I will send you a replacement. So we cannot be discouraged in the process. I scream that everything is voter suppression. It may be or may not be, but I'm like, that's voter suppression, voter suppression. But at the end of the day, we must stand up. And if there's not a ballot here in 5 days, my husband will be standing in front of the county building waiting for them to bring him a ballot.
Yeah.
And so we just have to be that aggressive with it, because other folks with other agendas are aggressive.
That's right.
Yeah.
I voted on Monday, and I took my ballot to the Board of Elections in Bergen County and dropped it in the box. But I do have a question, if somebody has an answer on this line, regarding how I follow up, because I do want to follow up. I want to track that back to make sure.
There is a website, and we'll get it, and maybe if we get it over to Raymond, he can get it up on the screen, or Stephanie can get it in thread, but there's a website that tracks the whole process. So it tracks once you put your name in and that kind of stuff, it tracks when it mailed, tracks when it's received. So yes, you can track it, and we'll get that.
Yes, I think it's called trackyourballot.com. They had it on. And
Gotcha.
once you pull it up, once you pull it up and put your information in, it will let you know exactly where your ballot is, when it was dropped in the box and everything.
Gotcha.
Because,
okay. Track your ballot.
They say that you're supposed to, oh, there it is. Raymond is the man.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
They say that they open those boxes daily in a bipartisan way and pull the ballots out. And for New Jersey, they are counting them as they come.
Track my ballot. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So that's on the screen for everybody. Yep. Log in.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Doc Minnie, can I just thank you very much for that information there. Can I say something while he's scrolling? Not just about voting. We must vote, of course, but also, if this was the 50s and 60s, our people would, we would be taking each other to work if we were working, and not riding that bus, because that bus line didn't treat us well and didn't treat us like we matter. But we don't have that same togetherness. So a lot of our issues, you guys, is our ability to come together as a united front. We are all outdone and outraged about the atrocities that we have seen in the last 4 or 5 months, last couple of years, in terms of what happens to Black and brown people. But I am so about, well, then let's take it to the people's pocket. And there was a gentleman who was who made a very unfortunate statement about our future vice president. Doc Minnie knows who I'm talking about. She's very involved with that. And they are no longer allowed on a certain network. But learning and reading more about it, you see that person had a PR company, and that the PR company clients were, and I don't want to create a problem, but there was an airline, there was a communications conglomerate that used that person's services. And it's like, well, there you go. We should no longer fly on that airline if they have used this person as an advertisement agency to represent them. Now they claim they didn't know, they didn't bada bing, bada boom. Yes, a big major airline didn't know who they were doing business with. I don't think that's true. So what am I saying? I'm just saying we also have to vote. We also have to be outraged to the point that if we say put your apples down for one day, you Apple users will do that, or for Sharon and I, Android users. But until we start coming together and getting uncomfortable and being what's the word I'm looking for? Where we are being put out, where we have to sacrifice something for the cause, then we just gonna be 3 years from now saying, why is this still happening? So I just think we also have to look at how we boycott and take it to the people's pocket, who has an effect on our future, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to just add to what Bria said. We live in this I generation where we are insulated as to what I want to do, where I want to go, what my group wants to do. And we have lost that sense of community where we band together to get it done. So Bria is incredibly correct.
Yeah.
So,
because Nick, how long was that boycott? I'm sorry. How long did people take each other back and forth to work in 1960?
So the Montgomery boycott was 378 days, I believe.
That's a year and how many days?
It was a year and some, right?
That they didn't ride the bus, right?
That we did not ride the bus. And back then, Black people were fully dressed to go to work, heels, skirts. And so, when John Lewis talks about good trouble and his head bashed in and walking alongside of King, it's very poignant, because for where we are right now, we are so self-absorbed. We almost want to walk alongside ourselves.
Mhm.
So I think that, some strategic economic things
Yeah.
have to happen. You are correct.
Yeah.
Economically speaking, um, we are disenfranchised in the money space and in the wealth building space. In the Jewish community, a dollar turns over 6 or 7 times before it leaves the community. In the Black community, y'all ain't even got your paychecks good and you getting ready to spend it. And I try and bring myself down, like sit on your hands. You go into a mall and you go into the store. There's nothing else you need. What else you need? You don't need nothing. You just want to. So we just have to get in the space. There's a local grocery store that the owner was really rude to me one day, and I was like, not a problem. I won't be back with my $50 a week that I spend at your store. Now, it may not make a difference to him one way or the other, but I've told all my friends, and I'm like, I ain't going back in there.
Right.
Once. I ain't going back in there. So we have to get into those spaces once again and remember that we haven't fully arrived.
Well, I'm back on my soapbox because I believe a lot of this stems because we don't know our history. We really don't know our history. We know some things that we have learned down through the years, but an intricate part of our history is missing. And listen, what they have been teaching us in the schools is not our history. And years ago, our parents made sure that we knew our history, that we knew the truth. And it's very sad that so many people nowadays don't want to make sure that, because if young people knew where they came from, a lot of this foolishness would not take place. So I'm just on my soapbox again. I'm sorry, but I've got to say it. This history is very important. And if you want to learn more about your history, I'm giving you a plug for my website, www.ftmp.us. ftmp.us, from the middle passage.us, and you can learn more about your history, because our history is always evolving. It's always evolving. Always evolving. Now, before I ask Raymond to come in, because I know he probably has some questions that he wants to ask you ladies, let's just talk a little bit about this coronavirus, because, many of us we're all dealing with this since what, March? Since March, right?
Yes.
Now, what do you think is going to take place? How do you feel about the vaccine that's being developed? Will you take the vaccine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? What's going to happen? Our president says he has the coronavirus. No one knows for sure. What are your thoughts?
Our thoughts as it relates to taking a vaccine?
All of those questions I asked about the coronavirus, period.
Yeah. For me, I would need it to go through several trials before I would even consider taking a vaccine. I don't need to just take something that they're, trying to expedite it and get it to us, for some political timeliness. So I needed to go through several trials, and then hear from scientists and doctors that I believe in, that I have confidence in.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
Yes, I agree with Bria. And working in healthcare and working for a hospital, there's going to come a point, we've already been told, where it's going to be mandatory that we take the vaccine for the virus. For a vaccine that's not even been approved by the FDC or FDA, whatever it is, or CDC, whatever it is. It's not even been approved yet. So they're saying, okay, pretty much, you want to continue to work here in healthcare, then when this time comes, you're going to have to take this vaccine.
Wow.
So my thing is, okay, well, I'm like Bria, if it's not been approved by scientists and doctors that I believe in, that really have our best interests at heart, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing it. So if it's a matter of, me not having a job as a result of it, then so be it. But they're really pushing for these. I mean, there are many vaccines that they're trying out there, and people actually experimenting and taking them. Are they effective? Who knows? Probably not. Depends on the person. And then there's another side of the coin where it's just like any other medications that we take. A lot of these vaccines are not for our people. They're just not. The DNA, the whole process, the whole formula for them are not for our DNA. So it does sometimes more harm than it does good, even with our usual medications that we take. So we have to be very careful and very mindful and become very educated in watching how this process is going to be a mess. Point blank. It just is. So we just have to be mindful and keep ourselves, educated and informed.
So I will say this: clinical trials are important, and part of the reason that we, as Black people, are so challenged in the clinical trial space is that we all remember Tuskegee experiment. We all now know about Henrietta Lacks,
Right.
And her cancerous cells. So I worked in the space of sickle cell disease research, and sickle cell, for as old as the disease is, has 1 or 2 drugs in the marketplace available to help sickle cell patients in a crisis. When you have over 100,000 people in the United States with sickle cell, and then a larger population worldwide. But the reason why sickle cell can't get to a space of levity is because we are fearful to go into clinical trials because of Tuskegee and Henrietta Lacks. So when we look at Corona, COVID-19, again, it's that same space of fear, because now not only do you not have Black people in the trials, you are fast tracking a drug. It takes about 4 years to really get approval on a drug or a vaccine to put it in the marketplace for sale. So I'm not sure how we fast tracking it. Now, certainly Bill Gates and his crew, and some people say they're a little shady, but I don't know. Bill Gates and his crew have been doing this research around it, but that's privatized money. It may be public money. So I wouldn't take it. If I'm fit, if I got to be fitting to be up in this house for another year, I guess I better make it comfortable.
That's right.
So you have it's the tale of two woes, or the tale of two cities. You go outside and catch Corona, or you could get the virus and end up dead from the virus.
That's right.
The vaccine. So it's kind of like pick your poison. And flu shot and a pneumonia shot for now. Why? Because they've been doing that for a very long time.
Right.
But until they get there, no, thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree, Nicole. If I don't come out until 2 or 3 years from now, it's fine with me. I'll be right here in the house, going to the doctor when I need to go and going to do some necessary things when I need to get them done. But the other stuff, I'm not rushing to do nothing.
And listen, it is very hard. And I will say this for everybody viewing, and we know it is very hard, because God created us to be human beings that interact with one another.
Yes.
Right? I saw Bria the other day. We both had our masks. We wanted to hug. We was holding hands for a minute because we're friends. We're family. We're used to being at each other's house, sitting on the couch, in the refrigerator, moving around.
Right.
Oh, come on, I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna run here, run there. And so, we came down to your house New Year's Day, Steph, for Kwanzaa, all the stuff that we're used to doing. This is so counterintuitive. And certainly, Sharon, in the mental health space, we have to be checking on one another through COVID. If you don't have COVID, like how long you been in the house? Well, somebody open the door. You know what I'm saying, Sharon? Just talk just a minute, because I think it's our mental health in this space is so incredibly important.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is. And dealing with people, who have clinical mental illnesses, outside of the people who don't and can manage, um, it becomes very depressing. The suicide rates so high right now is unbelievable.
Really?
The divorce rates are going up.
Hmm.
All these things, and people are just sheltered. I have clients call me every day asking me, well, when is it going to be over? When are we going to be able to get out? I can't take this anymore. What am I supposed to do? And a lot of them live alone. They have no
Hmm.
family, so
Hmm.
they're sheltered, they're socially isolated, you know
Yeah.
and this speaks to all of us. It could be any of us, so it's very, very difficult. And I just wanted to say one thing I was thinking about in terms of the virus and the vaccine. Every year, even with the regular flu virus, these strands of these viruses change so fast. It's difficult to even keep up with how to even make a vaccine for it.
Hmm.
Because even with the regular flu, they don't even know what the flu shot that we're taking now is going to treat the strands that we have. There's an A strand, there's a B strand. There's a C strand that won't work with the A strand. So we have to really just be again mindful of how these strands work, and if it's going to allow us to even be receptive to the virus once it enter into the vaccine, once it enters our bodies. We don't even know, you know.
Mm.
But again, going back to I just thought about that. Going back to mental health, people are really struggling, really, really, really hard. The alcohol rates are up. The drug and opiate rates are up.
Hmm.
With our young people and our older people. Some of our seniors, even they're not dying from natural causes. They're dying because they're high off opiates, trying to
Hmm.
deal with the situation. You know,
Wow.
so it's a daily, minute to minute struggle for all of us.
Well, certainly
It's
we
not
are
good.
we are praying for everybody. People say, yeah, okay, you're praying for us. Okay, you're praying for us, but prayer changes things.
Hmm.
Prayer
Yes, it
really
does.
changes things. Don't take prayer lightly. And we're lifting up everybody who's dealing with this virus, who've been affected by this virus, who's lost loved ones because of this virus. And we're believing God for victory for your life. Don't take it lightly. We're believing God for the victory for your life. You're going to be fine. You're going to make it. If you can just endure, if you can hold out, victory will be yours. Victory will be yours. Our time is running along, but Raymond, come on back now. I know you have a question or two before we sign off with these wonderful ladies. You girls have definitely been a blessing to me today. It's just been wonderful hearing your thoughts. But I know Raymond had some thoughts that he wants to send your way. So come on, Raymond. Let's talk and see what you have for us. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Raymond.
I was just saying that I'm so happy about what everybody was saying. I don't have any questions. It seems like you've covered it all. It was a very beautiful topic. I really enjoyed listening and being a spectator, and understanding you guys' view of friendship and relationship, as well as even the pandemic and a lot of things that's going on right now. So I just want to say thank you to what you have said, because I know for me, with friends have been very scarce. I am blessed to call one or two friends my friends right now, and I'm just blessed to be able to, have people that can have my back, people that I can talk to, and it won't come back to me. Like as I think Miss Nicole said that. But I'm just really happy that that this is something that's still going on. This is something that has been happening way before me. Of course, I already knew that, but actually seeing it in real time and seeing you guys, how you guys communicate, how you guys laugh, inside jokes is really a beautiful thing. So I really just wanted to say to everybody out there, take note from these ladies here. They have been a prime example of success, of beautiful speeches. Like just your speaking is so eloquent. It's just beautiful to hear. And I just really want to thank you all, because of all of your professions have really, I've learned a lot. I'm not one to not ask questions or not to say that I have not learned, but I have really learned a lot today, and I'm really appreciative of every single last one of you, because I called today as another day for me to be able to gain more of knowledge, more of understanding, and being able to go a little bit higher in my life because of you guys. I stand on you guys' shoulders. And I just want to say to every young person out there, you stand on their shoulders, you stand on your parents' shoulders, you stand on your grandparents' shoulders, you stand on their parents' shoulders. And all of these people that I'm naming, even as we go higher than just the grandparents and your great grandparents and your great great grandparents, some of these people didn't have the chance to vote. And now we have that chance to vote. Before my great grandmother left this earth, one important thing she always did was vote. And why did she do that? Because it's once in a lifetime where a country that has been so stacked up against us has finally allowed us to make a decision as to what we want to do in this country. So I really want to tell you, I want to leave you with this. And I know we're wrapping up right now. I want to leave you with the fact that life is not meant to be something that you survive off of. Life is meant to live. So if you're deciding every day I'm surviving, and no matter who the president is, I'm going to just survive the term. Let's not just survive. Let's take the lesser of the two evils, because one is an evil you definitely don't want.
Right.
And the other one is not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
But let's really be intentional on, you know what? And I'll even say this is the last thing I'm going to say. If you were to go into a doctor's office and one person was somebody who worked at Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, they even went to the bank and worked at the bank at some point. But then you have somebody who went to school and studied for 8 years to go to nursing school, to become a nurse, then become a doctor. They got all of their certificates and degrees to become the person they needed to operate on your body. And you chose not to choose either because somebody messed up along the line. That doctor did not revive somebody. Somebody died on their watch. Something happened to where you lost trust in them. But the other person has worked at McDonald's, Burger King, and all these other places, even a bank probably. But you decide to choose neither, and you've allowed people to make a decision for you to say, you know what? I don't put my trust in either, but I don't deny either. Like you get what I'm saying? You have to say it has to be either or. It has to be true or false. It has to be yes or no. It can never be maybe. It can never be you're just okay with what's going on. So let's really think about this election. We have a little bit more time to register to vote in. So let's be very careful with how we're doing this election, because this is going to provide us with our next 4 years. And either it's going to be the next 4 years of misery or the next 4 years of change.
Lord.
The choice is yours.
Listen,
Well said.
Somebody is going to be the president, whether you vote or not.
Right.
Please remember that.
I already put myself out there.
Somebody.
I didn't say it.
Huh?
I didn't say it publicly, but I'm really feeling like, and I'm going to say it generally. I have put it out there in the air that I want to try out for the presidency. I want to go up for it. You want to know why? Because it's like sometimes we think about this and we think, presidents are for old white guys who run up in president and they become. No, this is for us. We should be. So I want to say to every black young man, every black young woman, everybody who can hear under the sound of my voice, if you are becoming into the age of 35 within the next 4 years or the next years, please try to get into a seat. Please try to do it for your community. Get into these seats. Get into being a politician. And politicians are not all crooked. Let's just leave that out. Politicians are not all crooked.
Raymond, I am so proud of you. Ladies, this was one of my students.
Yes. Well spoken. Thank you very much.
My heart is bulging. Thank you, Raymond. Man. So listen, Nicole Davis, Sharon Fudge, Bria Williams, and Liz Brooks, who came on by video. I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this final session of Fired Up and Ready to Go. Let's leave this session really fired up.
Yeah.
The 3rd is coming. Let's get things done. Let's take care of business. And listen, we'll see you along the way. Keep me in your prayers. Keep me in your prayers.
Absolutely.
You got it. Goodbye, everybody. Take us out with the music, Raymond.
Thank you, Reverend Minity, for having us.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Raymond.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice to hear all of you guys.
Everybody stay well.
All righty. Be well, Sharon and Bria.
Thank you. Stay well and stay safe.
Bye, guys.
And remember, we must vote